I'm back, and today I went for a walk, and here's my thoughts today. Today's meditation is descriptive writing, writing powerfully, writing persuasively, and there's an art form. Our, if you, and there's also a science, and everyone's got their style, and everyone has their flavor. I love descriptive writing, vivid details. I love the names of the trees. I have a friend that's just sometimes I just want to have a recording just so when he talks about just the, the little details. I just this is really good, very descriptive. That comes from study. It's really pays attention to nature, and and sometimes it's very powerful. And it all really depends on what type of book you're writing, and there's a bit of style. But I've got a bit of a recipe of my own, and it involves setting the mood, power words, and if you will, picture this. We have 3 doors. Imagine you're in a dark room, and there are 3 doors in front of you, and the first door, you open it up, it's dark and empty. Close the door. Picture the second door. It is warm and full. Close the door. Third door. You open it up. Damp and cold. I haven't described very much, but certain words, I believe, have a very ancient, primitive, they bring a primitive feeling before they were words. And certain words, I call these power words, and these don't have to be, you don't have to get the thesaurus always, but they have a certain feeling. And I got this from Scott Adams, and his use of dark, empty. It's uneasy. Your brain, there's a primordial part of your brain that does not like dark. It does not like empty. Let's put it this way. We're describing eyes. Someone's eyes. They can be blue eyes. But if I say cold blue eyes, cold instinctively is not good. And I could say cold brown eyes. Or I could say warm blue eyes. Now, maybe the inflection isn't, but I believe some certain words carry a certain, like, it doesn't make any sense for eyes to be warm or cold unless they're cold, literally cold. But if it's a living being, cold blue eyes, cold brown eyes. Warm brown eyes, full of light, full, warm. These are, I believe, certain powers, and there's a lot of them. Cold, wet, damp. These words trigger certain bits of your brain that are ancient. And it can be very powerful. And so that's my meditation, is these certain words. And words like fresh, crisp. These aren't big words. And like the three doors, right? We can be vivid and very descriptive of the room, right? But you open the door, and there's the mooding, the lighting, cold, dark, empty. So not an easy feeling, and I believe that these words mean something more than just words. They're very simple words, very ancient words. In your mind, your ancient mind knows these words. They're not just words, they're feelings. Just like, why are kids afraid of the dark? Why? There's animals out there. There's bears, lions, tigers, saber-tooths, umpalumps, and woozles in the dark. And certain words like that are powerful, especially things you find in nature when you describe nature or weather related. Dark, cold, warm, full. Those are warm, full. Those are positive words. Bright, cool, crisp, fresh. So when I open the door and it is dark and empty, I haven't said much, but I've set the mood. Now, once we've reached that point, once we set the mood, we can start describing the scene. And again, some of the persuasiveness, when I studied some persuasion, your mind usually doesn't register what's not there. So I had a football coach say, don't jump off sides. Whatever you do, don't jump off sides. First play, I jumped off sides. Most people's mind don't hear the don't. And it's an interesting subconscious thing. So I try to be very positive. What is there? And Tolkien when he describes his hobbit hole, sometimes you can get away with it. But I try to be very, very positive. If I don't mention it, it doesn't exist. Right? Yeah, it's a beautiful day out. Bugs are real. Trees are real. And yeah. Now when it comes to describing something, I it's really easy to get to lose the flow. And that's all part of our style. Some people are very sparse with their words, and that's all. A lot of it's implied. But I like setting the scene. I really like setting the scene, and the way I'll do it is finding the flow of the scene. What of our characters, as our characters are moving, I'll pick out a couple of things. Now, our minds are very powerful, right? You can pick up Tolkien's book, Lord of the Rings, and you can see that. You can see this vividness, this epicness, and but it's not there. It's an illusion. It's all an illusion. You're looking at ink on paper. So sometimes your mind will fill in the gaps, and it only requires a couple of details, just one or two, maybe three, a couple of sentences with flow. And you'll come off very descriptive. Very. And you've only mentioned a couple of things. It'd be maybe the floors, maybe the ceiling. And if you set that all up, that's all set up with your power words. And they bring an emotion, and you'll hear them, and they're not extravagant words always, but if they bring a smell, if they bring a smell, if they bring a texture, if they leave a taste in your mouth, they put some chills down your spine, those are power words. And I'm sure they're called other things, and they're not just adverbs or pronouns. Sometimes they come in various forms, and I collect them, and that's my method. And sometimes I'll when I'm trying to start a sentence, I'll have a tempo, or I'll select one of these words from the beginning, and that'll set the entire scene. And it helps me start writing. So if I'm stuck, yeah. And I just remembered one thing. I forgot my notes, so I'm winging it, totally winging it right now. But if you can imagine the three doors. I call it the three-door method. Dark and empty. Close that door. Now see a room that is bright and full. Full of what? I don't know. Full of potatoes, full of laughter, but there's optimism. And there's certain words. You open the other door, it's cold and damp. Most of these are, they're descriptor words, but some of them aren't. And there's pictures, and you can do that, symbolism, and there's all sorts of other things that you can add to that. But sometimes it's the simple things. It's like painting. It's the layers. And these power words are these certain words set the tone. Set the tone. And you can describe so many things jumping off these. It's the lighting on the stage. It's the thing that we don't normally think about. But if you can get that tension, that feeling, you're halfway there. Halfway there. Everything else is facts, right? But as a writer, as an entertainer, we've got to grip the audience, get the feelings, because your feelings don't care about the facts, as some would say. I believe Lydia from Tim Pool, was it? We have Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings, but in entertainment and writing, your feelings don't care about your facts. So you can say, warm black eyes, cold black eyes, cold blue eyes. See, you feel the cold. Maybe it's my voice that's the inflection, but I feel it. I feel the cold. I feel the chill. And there's all sorts of different ways. And next thing is tempo, because you can be as vivid and magical as you want, but if it's in mid conversation, is it necessary? I do audiobooks, and sometimes if you can have some dialogue, and if you have like a paragraph of thoughts or navel gazing, or just a paragraph in between, and then the other person says, "Oh yes, I like that. That sounds good." There's the bit of a delay. It's not so much in just reading, because when you read, some people are really fast readers, and they don't notice it. So it's not It's not as clunky. But if you're going to get your book into audio format, sometimes the dialogue is it feels more natural when you hear it, because you're hearing a little bit slower than you're seeing. Is it dialogue? And like, what do you think about that? I think that's great. Versus, what do you think about that? Paragraph. 10 seconds go by, airplanes, whatever. Oh yeah, that's great. Because it takes longer to say it. So that's why I like reading my manuscript. And that'll help, because the tempo is really important. And also, what type of book are you writing? Are you in third person? Tolkien writes third person omnipotent, where he can share everything that's going on. Very cool. And you can do the little did they know that such and such was about to happen. That's kind of a neat. You can do third person limited, which is my favorite, and have a little bit of elements of surprise, and you kind of have a fly on the wall. You're kind of following one specific character at a time, and then sometimes you can switch. And it's very flexible. Also, the first person. That's a bit harder. Some people like that. I find it very claustrophobic, but it's like, but some people don't do it really well. But first person, it's kind of like, yeah, you're only seeing it through one lens, and it says I a lot. To me, that's a bit grating. As a reader, that's not something I enjoy, but some people do. So this is all thoughts, theory, and taste. And but yeah, power words are very, and you can use them in any setting. Any setting. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes less is more. And yeah. And that's part of the feelings is persuading the audience. And again, being descriptive is an illusion. There's no way you would be able to talk about the whole architecture. They have textbooks for that. And there's no way you're going to be able to talk about all of the lore, right? But if you give hints at this, at the timing, your audience will fill in the gaps. Usually, and some people like more details, some people like less details. For me, if it's all dialogue, I feel, I personally, I don't like that. I like body language. I like, sometimes saying nothing is more powerful than dialogue, bouncing all the way through. But that's my thing. But yeah, power words. Power words. I call it the 3-door method, and you can describe so many different things, from eyes to the room. You can set the scene in so many different ways, and there's a long list. But tell me what some of your power words are, and what emotion it brings. Because if you can have a fancy word like nuanced, problematic, words like that, I don't have any feelings with them, right? Bright, vibrant, energy. I feel those words. So, my mantra, my meditation today is this. I flow in a bright, powerful river of vibrant, new energy. I flow in a bright and powerful river of vibrant, new energy. Can you feel those words? Bright, powerful, new energy, river. I flow in a bright and powerful river of vibrant, new energy. Power words. They set the mood, they set the scene. They're not big words, always, but they always bring a feeling. They can make you uneasy. They can fill you with hope and optimism. That is what I have for you today. I'm going to continue on my walk. And if you'd like to check out some of my writing, Founder's Keep is my latest novel. It's about dragons, magic, adventure, and if you have any power words that you're fond of, sometimes it's words that fill you with dread, hope, optimism, calm, cool, clear. Things like that. Share them. And there's lots of good ones. Is what do you feel when you hear it? What do you feel when you hear it? Is it sticky? Is there grit? Does it leave a taste in your mouth, chills down your spine, fill you with hope? That sort of thing. Full is, full, bright and full of energy. I'll leave you with those positive power words. And, it's a good feeling, doesn't it? Those words are very powerful. They're more than just words. You feel these words. You feel them. They bring something more, something emotional, and I believe it's something deep, something ancient. It wakes something ancient in us, in me, and maybe you. And so I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you feeling bright, full, positive, powerful, and full of hope. And I wish you the best of luck on your writing, or if you just like listening, that's okay too. And it's been fun, and it looks like it might rain, so I'll be skedaddling. Chapter 1. Helvisti. Nora took in a deep breath as the ship sailed out of the harbor and tugged at her long fur overcoat that blocked the cold wind as she turned for one last look back at the city. She would miss Takrun and its cozy, bone-white wattle and daub buildings with their shaggy thatched roofs. She watched them fade away until all that could be seen was lush green hills dotted with flocks of sheep and smiling shepherds that waved at the